At 4:45 p.m. on December 13th, 2010, Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder of Bitcoin, logged off of the Bitcoin Talk forum for the very last time. Ever since Satoshi has gone missing, many people in the crypto community have been wondering who is the creator of Bitcoin. Now, this is a question that many people thought would go unanswered. However, today, a new documentary just released called Money Electric, The Bitcoin Mystery. Like many other people who pay attention to crypto, I was one of the people who watched this documentary, and during it, I found the evidence to be pretty compelling. It is my personal opinion that we will never be 100% certain of who Satoshi Nakamoto really was. However, I do believe that this was probably one of the strongest cases I have ever heard of who it might have been. In today's video, I plan to go over the evidence presented by the filmmaker Cullen Hoback and give my take on it. However, I do recommend that you go and watch the documentary, as it was extremely interesting and definitely is worth your time. Well, without further ado, let's get into this. For the first piece of evidence, I think it would be best if we go back to 2001, when a 16-year-old Peter Todd was having a conversation with the famous cryptographer Hal Finney, and stated, of course getting Hashcash workable as a real currency is extremely difficult. I've thought of a scheme that would work, except you need a decentralized central database of all the Hashcash that's been minted. Unworkable. Spend twice problem. Sent on the 10th of March in 2001. This post right here confirms that Peter Todd has been thinking of a way to use Adam Back's Hashcash invention in some sort of way to be able to create a digital currency. Talking about the double spend, or the spend twice problem as it is referred to here, which we all know that Bitcoin solved and is why it is so successful to this day. Already it shows the intent that Peter wanted to create a digital currency. And as we know, Satoshi had referenced multiple times in the emails that he has been working on this for years. Now for the next piece of evidence, we're going to jump to December of 2010. As we spoke about at the beginning of this video, this was the last time that Satoshi ever posted on the Bitcoin Talk forum. But a couple of other strange occurrences happened during this month. First, on December 7th, Peter Todd created his account. Shortly after creating his account, he writes the message, "Will buy one, invite for $2 message privately," responding to somebody else. But his second post is the one that deserves a little bit more scrutiny. He is responding to Satoshi Nakamoto, stating, of course, to be specific, the inputs and outputs can't match exactly if the second transaction has a transaction fee. Okay, so 3 days after joining the Bitcoin Talk forum, Peter Todd is already making contributions and has a deep understanding of Bitcoin and how it works, and is correcting and adding context to something that Satoshi is saying. In the documentary, Hoback makes the point that he believes this isn't Todd responding to Satoshi. This is Satoshi clarifying something he said on the wrong account. Realizing that he made a mistake, Satoshi had two options: delete the post and hope nobody saw it, or leave the post up there to draw no further attention to it. And as we know, Satoshi only posted for another couple of days before vanishing on the 13th, making his last post on the 12th. Now, another strange thing that happens is that post from Todd on December 10th, responding to Satoshi, was also his last contribution to the forum until April 26th of 2012. Now, there's one more piece of clarification, or evidence if you'd like to call it that I would like to add. The blog PC World made an article on December 10th and released it at 4:30 p.m. Briefly to summarize this situation, during that time, WikiLeaks was no longer able to receive donations from companies like PayPal and Visa in a coordinated effort to try to stop the funding to WikiLeaks because of the different US government information that they were exposing around that time. And the writer of the article makes the point that they could start using Bitcoin instead. Satoshi's second to last post ever made on this forum was made on December 11th at 11:30 6:29 p.m., where he stated, "It would have been nice to get this attention in any other context. WikiLeaks has kicked the hornet's nest and the swarm is headed towards us." Many people believe that this article and the potential adoption of WikiLeaks starting to use Bitcoin as a way for them to receive donations would be a negative thing for the cryptocurrency and an extremely scary thing for Satoshi Nakamoto. If it hasn't been extremely obvious by now, Satoshi took every single security measure he possibly could have to keep his identity secret. He was obviously afraid of something and wanted to remain anonymous. The most likely thing he was afraid of was the government, what the government would try to do to him if they found out he was the true creator of Bitcoin, which is something that I'm pretty sure we can all understand. And I just want to be really clear, please, after watching this video, do not reach out to Peter Todd, do not reach out to anybody and harass them about the identity of Satoshi. This person obviously really wants their privacy, and if you watch the documentary, Peter strongly denies it, and we're going to be talking more and more about why that is later on in this video, but please, just don't harass anybody. So before that little tangent, I was spitting a lot of different facts at you. And in order to best illustrate this, right now I'm going to be showing a timeline on the screen where you can see all of the important dates and exactly what happened on those dates that make them so important. First, on March 10th of 2001, we can see messages between Hal Finney and Peter Todd where they're talking about creating a digital currency and certain problems that there are in creating that specific currency. Then on December 7th of 2010, Peter Todd makes a Bitcoin Talk account. On December 9th of 2010, Satoshi makes a post talking about a problem with Bitcoin at 11:58 p.m. Peter Todd, 1.5 hours later, responds to Satoshi's message in a way that implies that he has a lot more knowledge about Bitcoin than someone should have for being on the forum for only 3 short days. It is extremely strange that somebody who only recently joined the forum is correcting and adding context to something that Satoshi, the founder of Bitcoin, said, meaning that it's possible that Peter accidentally logged off of the Satoshi account and onto his other account and made that post. Quickly regretting it, he had 2 options, either delete it or leave it up, and he decided to leave it up, hoping it would draw no further attention. Then on December 10th of 2010 at 4:30 p.m., the WikiLeaks article comes out, which Satoshi responds to on December 11th of 2010. On the 12th, Satoshi makes his last post at 6:22 p.m. before logging off for good on December 13th, 2010. After that response to Satoshi, Peter Todd would leave his account dormant until April 26th of 2012 before putting out his 3rd message, disappearing right around the same time that Satoshi did. Now obviously this is a lot of circumstantial evidence, and as I explained, this is all that we're really going to have to go off of. But now we're going to go down a little bit different of a path and speak about a leaked email chain between Peter Todd and a man or myth named John Dillon. Now this part of the video is going to get technical, but not really, because I don't understand any of the technical stuff that has to do with Bitcoin. But to summarize it, this random dude named John Dillon ended up reaching out on the Bitcoin Talk forum, stating that he would pay somebody $500 to anybody who was able to implement the transaction replacement by fee patch. And the implication is that Peter Todd had that exact idea a few years prior, and then amplified it once more on the Bitcoin Talk forum, stating that someone by the name of John Dillon emailed the Bitcoin development email list earlier this morning offering a $500 reward to anyone who implements a transaction replacement by fee patch. That's an idea I posted on the email list 2 days ago. I don't really understand fully the implication there, but something else that is interesting to note is that Gavin Andreessen, who is the person that the Bitcoin project was handed off to when Satoshi, I guess, retired, believed that John Dillon and Peter Todd were the same person, as you can see in the post on the screen. So now to move on to the next piece of evidence. This one is one that you're going to need to note if you were watching the documentary. So during the documentary, there were a lot of pointers from the director accusing Adam Back of being Satoshi Nakamoto. Of course, this is nothing new, as he has been receiving these allegations or these accusations for many years and has always denied them. But in the last scene, the interviewer or filmmaker, whatever you want to call him, decides to start pressing the both of them, and he starts off on Adam, stating a couple of pieces of evidence that point to him, but then he turns the gun over to Peter. And the second that happens, you can see an automatic shift as different pieces of evidence start being brought up that we have already gone over in this video. This guy who was laughing and happy immediately became extremely on edge, and you can definitely tell that the vibe changed. He was completely fine with it when the interviewer was making accusations towards Adam, but the second that he was the one getting fired at, he was on edge and quite angry, and also immediately denied any of these claims. Now, there are a couple of reasons as to why he could do this, and we can definitely give him the benefit of the doubt, as he doesn't want to be known on this HBO documentary as Satoshi Nakamoto, as that would bring a lot of light to his name that he probably doesn't want attention for, which once again is completely understandable. And realistically, if Peter Todd is Satoshi Nakamoto, we likely will never find that out, as that is likely something he would take to the grave, and if not to the grave, as a deathbed confession, which we hopefully wouldn't be getting for an extended period of time, as he currently is only about 37 years old. Regardless though, you can understand why somebody would not want to be accused as being Satoshi. So finally, let's get to the end of our evidence. Another thing that happened directly in the documentary was that Peter Todd was caught lying. In an old resume from 2002, you can see that he brags about creating a program in C++, which is the software that was used to create Bitcoin. In the documentary, you'll notice that he tries to say that he doesn't even know how to code in C++, which is an obvious lie refuted by this resume that he even tried to scrub from the internet. And now, further going off of his coding background, in the beginning of the documentary, he states that he's been coding since he was a little kid. He started coding about the time he started speaking, and never really received a true education on how to code, likely until way later on after Bitcoin was created. Many people who have forensically analyzed the code in Bitcoin stated that they didn't believe that Bitcoin was made by a professional. They believed that the code was too sloppy and put together in a way in which a professional would not do it. And now we need to remember what Peter was doing during the time of 2008 and 2009, directly leading up to the release of Bitcoin. At that time, Peter was studying as a college student, and if we look at the times that Satoshi was most active, it was in the summer when he would have been on break from school, which for many years has made people think that this could be some sort of professor at one of these universities, but maybe it was a student. And for the people wondering where Satoshi's Bitcoin might have gone, in this post right here, Peter Todd references making a massive sacrifice in destroying a bunch of Bitcoin by hand, or at least knowing what it's like to, potentially referring to the massive fortune of what is believed to be over 1 million Bitcoins that is held by Satoshi. If Todd is referring to those 1 million coins, it means that he likely destroyed whatever drive those coins were stored on as some sort of sacrifice to distance himself from ever being found out as the founder. And we all know that the only way that someone would ever truly be able to prove that they were Satoshi is if they were able to sign one of the coins that is believed to be held by him. Now, me not being any sort of Bitcoin professional by any means that I likely made some sort of mistakes along the way during this video. Before leaving some sort of hateful comment, please be sure to criticize and critique the things that I said and correct me, because I want this to be as accurate as possible. The first pinned comment on this video will likely be me potentially refuting these claims. I also quickly want to point out that there was this blog made in 2016 that talks about a lot of these connections between Satoshi and Peter Todd. I highly recommend somebody who knows more about Bitcoin to go and read this and see what they had to say. And please let me know and translate it so that I'll be able to understand. I really want to thank you all so much for watching this video. Once again, please do not harass anybody. As I said, we likely never will 100% be able to confirm the identity of Satoshi, and whoever it is definitely wants to stay private, so please respect their wishes. I want to thank you all once again so much for watching. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Bye bye.